All right, guys. Today, what we are looking at is healing with homeopathy and tissue salts of salvation. So this is Steve Falconer, who is a person who calls himself a truther. You know, there's a big movement online. If you've been living under a rock, there's a big movement online called the Truther Movement, who question many things, and I guess I'm a little bit a part of that. I do question many things, but I do believe that Steve Falconer is controlled opposition because of his silly ideas. He's not giving truthing a good name. And then I don't even want to, didn't want to react to him, but he made a video about homeopathy. He interviewed a homeopath. I don't know, British, Australian. I don't know where she's from, called Lisa something. And the whole thing is a cluster screw, both in terms of truth stuff and in terms of homeopathy stuff. So basically, everything is wrong here. Um, and so I thought I would make a video on that because, I get frustrated by this. And although I don't get many views, I don't know. I just feel better if I put these thoughts out there. I don't know why. So let's get into it.
Few thoughts, if that's all right.
I used to work for the health insurance industry and the life insurance industry inside. I worked for United Healthcare, formerly Travelers Insurance, Blue Cross. Later, I got into the agency side. I do have a kind of a medical background. I did work as a liaison with doctors between the medical companies. So I'm a musician and a filmmaker. I'm not a doctor, which is hilarious.
Yeah, yeah, we know that, Steve. You're not qualified in anything you're talking about. So you have no qualifications in homeopathy and you don't have any medical qualifications. I mean, um, you don't really need medical qualifications to talk about homeopathy because it's a separate corpus. You can actually study homeopathy without getting a medical degree. But you don't have a homeopathy qualification, and how many books on homeopathy did you read? Did you read the Organon? Did you read anything from Kent? So if for the audience, I'm just going to answer the question. He did not.
That's what's really funny is I'm doing health talks and I'm
It is pretty funny. It's quite funny.
on with people like you and Dr. Berlando and my friend and my doctor, Dr. Amanda Volmer. And I've got people writing me letters showing me like pictures of their bumps on their genitals and stuff. I'm not a fucking doctor. And I think it's really telling of the state of the world today, Lisa, is that if you're writing me for medical advice instead of a doctor, we've got problems.
People are writing you because you have, a big beard, a cool voice, and you're charismatic, whatever.
And I'm not allowed, obviously, to give them medical advice because of legal problems. So I can never do that. I can say, I can't tell you this, but here's what I would do if it were me. And I send them the links and this and that. And as you were saying, we're going to talk about the cell salts today. And I made some notes here. You're a homeopath.
Yes.
Now, dummies like me, I used to think homeopath means stay at home and do your own home medicine, right? Like that's what a dummy like me thinks. But I
Right, and you still don't know what it is. Can you define homeopathy? Do you know the basic principles? I'll tell you, he doesn't. And even at the end of this 3-hour video, they're not going to talk about them.
I looked it up. Homeopathy comes from the word homeos, which means like, I'm going to read my notes, similar or same kind of this, but this is for people listening. But the second part is what's fascinating. Homeos is like, similar, or same kind. Pathy comes from pathia. One word is disease. And that's where all homeopathy comes from, is disease. The other word for pathia is feeling and emotion, mind, emotion, heart.
Right. Everything is in the mind. Wow. It's so edgy. It's so mysterious. Everything is in the mind, guys.
Feeling. So in other words, homeopathy means like, similar kind of mind or feeling or emotion, which is homeostasis, which means a state of equilibrium maintained by a self-regulating process. Okay, equilibrium with what? The self is equilibrium with what? What is it supposed to equilibrate with? And it's external changing forces and circumstances by the presence of feedback mechanisms, which means dis-ease, disease, which I call dis-ease, means your body gives you diseases to tell you that you are not mentally and emotionally in harmony with your surroundings. And to me, that's homeopathy. And I'm shocked that homeopathy
No, no, no. That's not homeopathy. So that was not a good definition, Steve.
and naturopaths, I'm shocked that a musician and a filmmaker like me is one of the few people out there with people like yourself, Dr. Berlando. There's not many people out there talking about cell salts, which is the mechanism that marries the two together.
There's not many people talking about it because you don't talk to anyone. So whenever I comment on your videos, you completely ignore me, Steve. So that's why there's not many people talking about it. You have one homeopath, Berlando, and maybe another one, Lisa. And I commented on Bear's video. I commented on your video, and you're ignoring me. So you're like the kumbaya. Let's all come together and vibrate, right? And the third guy who comments on your videos, you just ignore and even ban me or something like that. So coming together is only for two people, right? Two homeopaths. That sounds like you're full of shit, basically.
Your disease is mental, but cell salts, you're not just mental and you're not just physical. They are married together and they are causing each other, the mind body mirror. You can heal one or the other and they will heal the other. And I think it's shocking that somebody like me is even out here having this talk with you. Where are the rest of you doctors? Where are you?
Yeah, we're right here, except you ignore everyone except for Lisa and Dr. Bear Lando, who studied homeopathy but is not a classical homeopath. He's like one of those eclectic. We use astrology and whatever, and rods and mind reading and psychoanalysis and like a hodgepodge of all kinds of things. Just just to we make every effort to avoid actual homeopathy. That's the type of homeopath Bear Lando is. And I think Lisa is a little better, but still, I think she's one of the eclectic ones, as you'll see a little bit later.
I appreciate you doing this. And as a little bit of context for people listening,
I'm not a doctor. I drink wine, I smoke cigarettes, I'm a musician. This is why I got into cell salts, is because I realized that I live what you would call a very unhealthy life, and I needed to balance this out, which is why I got into this in the first place.
but as you say, the mind is so important. So as a bit of context, I guess it's brilliant you've done that intro, because I'm going to be totally blunt. About tissue salts from when I studied them at homeopathy school. We studied homeopathy, I studied for 4 years, and it was the most amazing experience. And we learned about all the homeopathic remedies, of which there are, I think, over 8,000 now. Obviously, we didn't learn all 8,000, but you learn about the depths and the profile and the emotional side and what event may have caused someone to go into that energetic state. And it's so interesting, exciting. And then we had one weekend on tissue salts.
One
and it-
weekend, yeah.
weekend.
Yeah. So you will notice that Lisa is an actual homeopath. She's not someone I would agree with on everything homeopathy related, but she is an actual homeopath, you know. And she didn't have a lot of cell salts in her studies. And that is because cell salts are a spin off of homeopathy and they're much less effective. But Steve here is one of the new age kooks who are just basically fixated on cell salts because they can be tied. They're a simplified version of homeopathy, right? So he can cook up all kinds of bullshit uh, narratives about astrology and connect it with astrology and everything. And with homeopathy, you can't do that. It's too complicated, right? You can't just dump bullshit all on it and present it as some kind of revolutionary thing, right? So that is why Steve is fixated on cell salts, and poor Lisa is also kind of wants to, you know, um, kiss Steve's ass, I guess, and she wants to give him something on cell salts. But I feel sorry for her. I mean, you should be you should be actually being interviewed about proper homeopathy and have a chance to express professional thoughts and not all this horse shit, I guess.
And it was a bit done. The lecture was great, but it was a bit more by this, and it was later on in the studies, and it was presented a bit more like it's a bridge between sort of homeopathy and supplements. It's to help the body more on a physical level. And then we were just told about the 12 core tissue salts, one after the other. And by the end, I'm like, oh my God, where's like the homeopathic profiles where you're learning about sulfur and the ragged philosopher? And so it felt very dry, to be honest. And that was the extent of it. And so
It's dumb. You don't need to use cell salts. It is dry and it's dumb, and just forget about them. I mean, you know.
I knew they're amazing. I've shared this about how, my husband had a cavity and he came back, and I said to him, look, just don't go back and get it filled. Just wait and have calc floor and calc phos, because I'd been learning about them at the time at college. And lo and behold, the cavity went when he went back and they couldn't find it. I know they're amazing, but I also have found them a little bit, to be honest, boring. I shouldn't say that because I've written a book on it, but that's the honest truth.
So cell salts are a spin-off of homeopathy, and they're dumbed down and less effective and simplified. That's why there's only 12 of them. So try treating meningitis with cell salts. You're not going to be able to. But Steve is fixated on them, and he wants cell salts to be the panacea. He wants to talk about cell salts. Why? Because it's easy to cook up a new age narrative around them and attach it to astrology and whatever, and angel healing and whatever the hell.
The book's not boring. Then I listened to you on the end of COVID on the esoteric biochemistry. It was the last episode on the end of COVID. And I was a bit like, oh, see, when I first turned it on, I was like, sort to the last episode, just because that's where my mind had been. And then I listened and I totally reframed and had my mindset of them and had a new respect after hearing you talk about them. And obviously it was with Bear and Amanda as well. And it was just, and Dawn was hosting it. And it was such an amazing.
So, by the way, Bear Lando and Amanda Vollmer and all those guys are part of the flat Earth cult? Guys, I don't know if anyone here, maybe not many people here are aware of that because maybe, it's just homeopaths coming to this channel. But there is a cult on the internet which says that the Earth is flat. Steve is one of them. Steve Falconer, the guy who's interviewing Lisa. Bear Landos is, I think, one of them, and Amanda Valmer, I don't even know how to pronounce her name, is also one of them, right? So it's a cult. Uh, you might also see someone called Flat Earth Dave. He prowls the internet and he looks for um, I guess more well-known people, and he goes on shows and presents his flat Earth cult and sells his app and makes a lot of money. Anyway, that's not the topic of this video. But it tells you a lot about whether or not you can listen to these guys talk about a Renaissance science with strict scientific principles. Do you think you can listen to these guys about them? That?
Episode, and I thought, yeah, the way you bring them to life is phenomenal. Thank you for doing
Oh,
what you
you're
do.
welcome. And again, like to me, it's ridiculous that I felt I'm outclassed. I'm sitting there with Dawn Lester, Dr. Berlando, Dr. Mandeville. What am I
You're sitting there with all the flat earthers. You're definitely outclassed, even by them.
doing there, like in the first place, right? And that's why I still talk about them, is obviously we don't understand this. If your doctors, your homeopaths, your naturopaths, your allopaths will never hear about this. It's all physical, plant, and with health diet. I stay out of the vegan and the meat wars. You can hear 20 experts and they all totally disagree with each other.
By the way, if you don't believe me, check out Steve's channel. It's called Space Busters. Yeah, which means he doesn't believe in space, which means the Earth is flat. It's a cult. It's an obvious cult. I myself might be skeptical of some space things like the moon landing and stuff like that. But that's not the point here. The point here is they behave like a cult. It's like once you realize the Earth is flat, it changes your life, and you belong to the community, and you can never leave, and you can never question your faith, and your life will be wonderful. We are your new friend. It's like a typical, it's like I don't know what to compare it to, like Scientology meets Mormonism. I don't know.
And their advice only works on some people and not the other. It's because it's all a mind construct. It's mental and emotional,
Ooh, everything is mental, guys. Everything is mental.
married with the physical. There's no physical solution. There's no mental solution. Acupuncturists, it's not that. It's not German new medicine. It's not that they aren't relevant. It's that they are a circle of what we call health, which is funny.
Ooh, wow. It's a circle, guys. Wow. Wow. Okay. What about homeopathy? Can we talk about homeopathy, like maybe the basics, what basic principles, anything, instead of the everything is mental, guys?
Because your show's called The Health Rebel. How fucking ridiculous, pardon my French, can I swear on this show? I don't
Yeah,
know.
of course.
Yeah. How ridiculous is it that you have to call your show Health Rebel as if you have to rebel against health? That just lets you know that we have no friggin' clue what health is, or there's nothing to rebel against. You're either healthy or you're not. You know,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I had a bandmate, he died of a brain tumor, really the surgeries, but this guy was not driving around in Disneyland, 300 pounds, eating bricks of cheddar, like a wheelchair. He was a skinny little vegetarian dude, really good, and a very cool guy, but very negative all the time. Just everything is negative. Couldn't see the positive in anything. And sure enough, if people like this, those are the ones getting sick. You don't see happy people. Bruce Lipton, and I don't agree with the genetics or the biology. I agree with the biology of belief. I don't agree with cell membranes and how he says it works. It's true. When you're newly in love, have you ever been sick?
So true, isn't it?
Got
Yeah.
the job of your dream job. You didn't call in sick with emotional distress, right? It's
Yeah.
always these mentally unbalanced people. And
Everything is mental, guys. Yeah, this is such deep stuff, guys. Everything is mental.
the cell salts, as we'll get into today, there is a physical part of your physical body that regulates whether your mental and emotional state
Oh, wow. Your physical body regulates your mental? That's amazing.
of your heart and your mind work. A machine doesn't work if there's no oil in your car, it doesn't run. There's not wrong with your Ferrari, but if
Deep stuff, guys. Deep
you
stuff.
don't put oil in the fucking Ferrari, it's not going to drive. Even though it's
Yeah, and actually, this is a really valid point you've raised. And just for the homeopaths listening out there, because we often think about the mental side causing the physical issues. But if we think back to there's a famous homeopath from, I think it was
Do we always think about that? We don't always think about that.
the 19th century or early 20th century, James Compton Burnett, and he used organ support remedies. And he would actually say that if you treated like the pathology, say the heart with Protagus or some other kind of
Okay, so why do you want to start with organ support remedies when we're talking about homeopathy? This is an interview with homeopathy. Organ support might have appeared in Burnett, but it's a fringe thing. It's not at all the main canon of homeopathy. And so we're not talking about homeopathy actually. And so this is like a non-educational video because by the end all you're going to know more about is astrology and organ support, and the viewers are going to still be in the dark about the core principles of homeopathy because it's a science, right? It's their principles and it's a very logical process. And all people are going to know is that, oh, there's something like organ support. So that's like yeah, you're not really enlightening anybody, you're just giving like you're giving little like, oh, listen to this is such a cool thing. No, I mean, just talk about homeopathy, right?
organ support specifically for the heart or the liver with adonium or liver support remedy, then the actual overall health would improve as well. Like you don't always, so there's always different approaches. So although like classically and classical homeopaths will be looking at the mental and emotional and going
No, they will not be looking at the mental emotional. Classical homeopaths also look at the physical symptoms. You have to look at the totality. So Lisa is a homeopath, but she's one of the very one of the ones with a limited skill set, right? So she doesn't even know. She doesn't even know what classical homeopathy is. Okay, I don't want to really bash her because Steve is the worst here, but she's a homeopath and she doesn't know that classical homeopaths don't just look at mental symptoms, okay? Um yeah, because there's this rumor, oh, the classical homeopaths, those guys are really crazy. They just look at mental symptoms. I mean, if you're a homeopath watching this, you might have heard this rumor. It's circulating in the professional circles, and it's totally insane. And she didn't even verify this claim. If you read Kent, he's talking about totality, not mental totality. He's talking about mental and physical totality. It's just wrong. She's just lying. So she's pretty bad, but Steve is worse.
in at that angle. There's many tools that we can use, and I do think
Sorry, she's not lying. She just doesn't know. And she didn't take the time to look into it.
tissue sorts are often overlooked by many of us.
and yeah, exactly. And the thing is, tissue salts are not supplements. They are not. They are the essence of what your plant medicine is made of. So all they're doing is taking the same plants you guys give to people and they are reducing them to such a level where you've got 7,000 of that same plant reduced to a pill this big, right? Oh, and there's still some of the plant left. We'll get into titration 6 times, 12 times. All it's saying is there's an essence in those plants. It's not the plant that
I don't think plants are triturated. But Steve here wants to use big words. Big words from Steve. Triturations. Wow.
that's healing you. It's the spirit or essence in that plant. And what cell salts are is what our bodies are made of, as we'll get into. You're just taking this many plants that you couldn't possibly eat in 3 days and turning them into a pill this big with the essence of the plant and still some of the plant left. And that energy, and we'll get into that. You are not a physical body.
Everything is energy, man. Didn't you know that? Wake up, guys. Everything is energy.
And you are not a spirit having a physical experience. You're a combination of both. And it's that energy of those plants are what heal you, not the green leaf, not the stem. It's the energy in the green leaf and the stem that is healing you, not the plant. The plant's not healing you. It's the plant's spiritual energy and essence that's
Ooh, big words, big words.
healing you. And cell salts are a reduced form like alchemy. I'm drinking wine. This isn't a grape that's getting me drunk. It's the essence, the spiritual essence that has been reduced that is doing it, right? There's a huge difference, and we are physical and spiritual.
Wow. That's amazing.
We are both. We are married. We are not a spirit having a physical experience, and we are not a physical being that's spiritual. We are intertwined. And they don't teach it to anybody. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And people that are new to homeopathy as well find that aspect really tricky to get their head round, because they're taking the pills and they're thinking it's something crushed up in that pill. And like the beginner of homeopathy, when they first find out, when I teach my beginners courses, and I used to do it live, and I would teach how we make the remedies, and I'd see their faces be like, what? There's no chemical substance in there. And it's amazing. Oh, actually, I won't go. I'll just fill you in
Go on.
briefly.
Yeah,
I mean,
go there. Let's go there. Let's jump
so,
right the fuck
so
in.
you can take this to a whole nother level of, I don't know if I want to go here again, but I've started to
Go
finish.
there.
But
Let's go.
okay.
Let's get
Okay, let's go there.
real.
I shared the other day on my Instagram page about paper remedies, how actually you can write the name of I don't know what your thoughts are on this, actually, Steve, would be interested to get your opinion, but you can write the name of the remedy, the homeopathic remedy, on a piece of paper, and you can put your water over it, leave it, and then shake it. And then you can, when you're desperate, you can actually, even when you're not desperate. Now, everyone that says, oh, that can't work, I used to.
Okay, guys. Okay, I take it back, guys. Lisa is just as bad as Steve. Why? Because she's insane. Okay. Did you hear what she was saying? She's saying that homeopathy. You can do homeopathy by writing the name of a remedy on a piece of paper and then putting a glass of water on it, and the water is going to become the remedy. So that is batshit crazy. There's no other words for it. Okay, and no wonder Steve is interviewing her, because this is like red meat for the new age flat earthers. It's completely crazy. And if someone with proper scientific homeopathy was to come here and talk, I think Steve would just run away or something. So that's why he's not interested in talking to anyone else. But this tells you everything you need to know. Basically, she's the flat earther of homeopaths, and if you don't know much about homeopathic circles and little camps and all that, there's actually a lot of homeopaths who believe that this is possible. Unfortunately, there's a big group, especially in England, but in other countries as well. It's like the new age homeopaths, and people like me, people who are classical homeopaths, we are the minority. And then when people ask around about homeopathy, they hear insanity like this, and that's why homeopathy gets a bad name. So we have to apologize on behalf of these guys and explain, no, we're not completely crazy like that. You know, um, it's a very sad situation, unfortunately. So you have these two goons, Lisa and Steve, and it's completely insane. Even if I admit that some of the new age stuff can work, I can admit that rods could work, okay? Like dowsing could work. I can admit that. I can admit that laying on hands could work. I can admit that. Okay? No problem. Um, but what is the magical process that creates the remedy in the water just by writing the name of it? Does your brain go through the paper and the letters and then into I don't understand it. It's not, even if you're a crazy new age person, there's some logic necessary in life. Some logic is needed. And I'm sorry, I can't wrap my head around it. And if you think paper remedies work, you are crazy. So let's go on.
To think that couldn't work. When I haven't had a remedy on me, I've done it and it's worked without fail. And everyone I know that has used it has said, so many people, I commented on this Instagram post about how, yeah, I've done that and it's amazing. Then I had a few really aggressively, and I linked to Veda Austin's work and the work she's on water, but I had some people that absolutely were horrified by what I was suggesting, saying, Lisa, someone of your caliber, you shouldn't be like this out there. This is all quackery. You're making it like more. I was so angry, and I was like, God, like I'm actually trying to give you something to help you.
But it works.
Yeah, exactly. I
It
don't know if you
has
have
to
any
work.
thoughts.
Yeah. Like placebo and nocebo are even admitted in fake, real, but fake scientific. We know it works. I've done those experiments too, where I went to the flower shop. I bought they were nocebo, placebo.
Okay. I can't really take much more of this, so these are just some excerpts from the interview, which is like 3 hours, and they talk about electrical biochemistry, esoteric biochemistry, and then that's not that bad. It's not that bad of a topic, but then they go on to like star signs and cell salts. Like they assign specific cell salts to different star signs, and now that's crazy. Again, that's crazy as well. So that's gonna be pretty crazy. And yeah, that's what this. So this is the rest of it is about star signs. You're not gonna learn anything about the scientific principles of homeopathy, or the core canon of homeopathy. No, you're going to learn about star signs and stuff like that. I guess they talk about, it's frozen right now, but until the end they talk about star signs. So that was I think that's going to be it for this one. And can I ask you guys please to hit the like button and subscribe, and also if you want to be treated by me, I can do that. You can get in touch on Telegram, Signal, and you can find those in the channel description.